welcome to another edition of Jeff Walker Books Discussion. Today I'm talking about Outer Red and the series that I made for this book. I'm currently working on the final part 4. It's been a long time coming for this book, so how do I feel about it? I don't know. To be honest with you, I'm in mid-writing of the final part. So if you haven't read the Outer Red series yet, I suggest that you do so that you're caught up to where the part 4 is. Now, when I first started this book a long time ago, it was just meant as a short story within a collection of short stories. But it soon evolved because the story did well. Many people liked that story in that short collection, including the narrator that was doing the book at the time seemed to enjoy that one. So I did make it into like a part 1, mainly to test the waters, I guess, to see if anybody would enjoy that book. Oddly enough, it did, because it went to number 1 right away for like a few hours on Amazon, so that was interesting. Because it sold a lot right away. And then it did so well that I made it into an Audible, and I extended it. So it was the extended version on the Audible when I did it. Because then I thought, well, there should be a little bit more in the story. So this is part of my whole writing lesson learning thing. So when I did it, I probably should have done that in the first place to expand the story a little bit. It was more of a novella than it was a short story, but it is shorter. It is much shorter. And so then I made a sequel. I built it up. I was saying that there was a part 2 to continue the story, and I thought I'd do that. I thought I'd make it into parts, easy to break down, easy to for readers to get excited about. And then I launched the second one. I did an amazing job with the trailer for it, and at least I thought so, and some other people did. But sadly, it didn't do the numbers I thought it would for number 2. Mainly because it was about I called it the 3 little pegs. Now, they're not pigs; they're pegs. And somebody couldn't understand that. Why are they not pigs? And I said, well, because they're pegs. They're girls. I made it like these 3. One was like a hologram. The other one was a robot. And then the other girl was a clone, which I expanded into a bigger story about all that. So the part 1 and part 2 were meant to go together hand in hand. I did get a review from one guy who belittled me because he said that there should have been like an intro at the beginning of the book, of part 2, to explain it. And I thought, well, if you didn't read the book in the first place, why are you reading the second one? Like, I don't understand. So I did put in a little prologue about the story so far and stuff like that. I'm not sure if I should have done that, but I guess it's a good way, if anybody hasn't read the book, that they can go back. But then there's no point in going back, so I wasn't sure what to do with that. So I kind of just kept on going with that. Like, I do a little story so far. Even in the third one, which is out now, which continues the story from where it left off from part 2. And then part 4 will leave off from where part 3 left off. And will I make this a collective single book? Maybe. I'd like to at least try to keep them individual for now. It's a learning experience. This was my first foray into science fiction fantasy, which is more in the fantasy realm. I tried to make it interesting. It's a little humanistic, I guess. I guess people were expecting more aliens or whatever like that. But I said, well, in the future, if I want to carry on with this book series, maybe I will. Maybe I'll do more. But for now, I just want to finish out this first arc and get it over with. And parts 1, 2, 3, and 4 are basically all one book. So I just wanted to separate them to give the reader some sort of serialized kind of action. So part 1 was the beginning of the journey of where Red wakes up on the planet and is trying to figure out how she got there and how the ship crashed. The second one is meeting the three little pegs and her journey within this old Sultan system that she's discovered, which is there's more to it than she'd realized, because she's on the search for Grand Mar, which is like this ancient general that she's been having to go find because the creature is called the Bayers. In the previous book had mentioned that she had given them the technology and the message, and so she had to go and continue on with that. Meanwhile, her main underlying thing was to contact these creatures and bring back the message for the Galactic Kingdom, which is who she works for. And she's getting a little sidetracked, so this is her journey of trying to get back on a mission. So in the third book, it carries on from that point of meeting with the pegs and discovering Mar, what she's been up to, and so then the fourth book will be from that point on the planet as well. I thought it was doing well. Constructively in my head, I pretty much know where it is, and it's going exactly how I planned it. I'd like to get more readership for it though, and more input. I think what really probably sunk me was that I used children, I guess, for the second arc, but I'm like, they're not really kids. They're not real. They're not actual children. So that's the whole thing of that. So it's more like anime in a way, to be honest with you, and that's how I viewed it. It was more like an anime than anything. But it's like, how do you do anime in a book? So I don't know. But I enjoy writing about this character, and surprisingly, this is an all-female cast, really, which is hard for a man to write, I guess. I don't know, but I don't really generally see it that way. I make a character. I like the characters. I know how the character's supposed to think and act. But the fact that they're all women didn't really faze me. So I don't have a problem with that at all. I think the only male characters I do have are some of the villains and the onboard computer, Grimm, her sort of AI companion, but he's not really he's male in sounding, but I mean, he's not generally, I guess, male? I don't know, but he sounds male. Yeah, so I'm just in mid writing of this final chapter of this book 1, part 4, at the Well's End, and it's just it's going to delve deeper into more of what they've been exploring in the series all along. So generally, I want to try to give this the final boost if I can. It will probably be longer, this last book. I've got more to shove in there. I don't mind writing it, to be honest. But once it's done, I'm just going to take a break from that for a while, because it's been plaguing my mind, because I hate leaving books in that cliffhanger moment. So, after this book is done, will I do that kind of thing again? I don't know. that's really up to the readers. That's really up to anyone that wants to tell me otherwise. I just want to hit some feedback of whether or not you enjoyed it in this fashion, or if you prefer the all-in-one book. Now, I know many will probably say the all-in-one book, but really, I mean, it's fun to have moments of I can't wait for the next one to come out. But like I said, this book series was an experiment for me, just to test the waters, to see what works, what doesn't. This is more, I wouldn't say innocent than my other writings. This one is this is definitely tougher because it's less of seriousness, I guess, in a way. There's not a lot less swearing, but I've covered it with something else, so it's generally supposed to take place as the fairy tale stories, which if I ever continue the series of books, it will delve more into the fairy tale setting. I thought it was a great concept to use the old folklore fairy tales and turn it into a science fiction fantasy kind of arc. I'd like to say that I want to continue it, but when you write these things out and you get no responses, you tend to question whether or not that's actually for you. I liked it. I think it's fine. The story to me holds up, but then that's me. I'm the writer. I need the fans to tell me if the story holds up. Some have said yes, some have said no. So it's interesting that I'm getting so little feedback from some of my stories, especially when I put them out there, and reviewers take the book, but they don't review. I mean, they give stars, but they don't actually tell me why, or tell me the characterizations, or give me more info, just to simply say it was pretty good. Means absolutely nothing to a writer. It's well, what does that mean? Did you like it? The story arc? Did you like the plot? I understand if some people are just giving reviews that they bought the book, give a quick review. They're not a professional reviewer. I understand that. But those that do have the professional web pages and review pages, you got to give me more. It's just has to be more. I've had Red Star Reviews give me a good review for Long Lost War, and I think he's a great guy. He's very good at talking about the review of a book and his podcasting, and I see he's got some stuff up there, and much like I have on Anchor, and he's generally a good guy. So. And I don't expect anything from anybody. I really don't. I don't expect everybody to give me glowing reviews. I don't expect that at all. And I don't give books out to people expecting that kind of thing. I mean, if you want to review it, you let me know, and I'll give you a free copy. But if you're just going to take the book for taking the book, that to me is just a waste. I don't have physical copies of books. I noticed that a lot of people, when they're doing reviews on BookTube and stuff like that, they have physical copies. When I said, well, it's hard for a self-publisher to get copies of his book because they're expensive. They're expensive to print. They're expensive to ship. And it's all money. And it's money that self-publishers just don't have. Unless, they don't have kids, they're financially okay to do all that stuff. But unfortunately, I'm not. And I'm not going to go into the whole aspects of that. I'm just going to write my books and put them out there, and you read them and you let me know. And mainly, I've enjoyed writing Outer Red. It's been a fun series. I'm still writing it, so I'm still in mid-write of it. I'm hoping to get it pushed out before October, thereabouts. I mean, I still have the other books on my back burner that I have to get into. And as a self-publisher, it's hard to get motivated. It really is. Mainly because you have life in the way, you have other worries. I mean, if I could do this full time, great. I would focus on these books. But when you've got a job, yeah, you gotta hunker down some places, and it's good to put out due dates of when you're going to push things out. But let's be realistic. Not all writers can do that. We try to aim for the certain dates, and I do. I try to make timelines for myself to get that pushed out. Like this book, I wanted to get this out sometime this summer, but I don't know. It may not turn out that way. I want to be able to get it out within this year. Last year was great. 'Cause, I hate to say that, but I mean the pandemic kind of helped. I focused a lot on my writing while I was doing this, and I managed to get 3 or 4 books out, maybe another story, short story, and that was amazing. Now we're getting back into the swing of things. Now that the vaccines have all come out, and we're all trying to get back into some sort of normalcy, if you can call it that. But I am trying to focus on that. But I mean, obviously, you get distracted. I'm mainly on Twitter, though, for advertising of my book. I don't know. I've tried to go on Facebook, but it's so much to keep up on. So many groups to keep track of, and you tend to get a little bogged down in that. I'm not an advertiser. I lack that advertising niche. But I mean, I try my best at what I've given, and sometimes I'm mainly on YouTube. I'm not YouTube. Twitter to promote these books because that's all I have time for. And I shouldn't really just focus on Twitter. I mean, I have tried to go on Facebook, on their groups, and push my stuff out, but yeah, I just find it's defeating sometimes. It's just you put it out there, you get nothing. I know a lot of people push the advertising, and that's great. You got money, that's great. It all comes down to that. It all comes down to the dollar factor. If you have it, you're going to flaunt it. But for now, I just want people to not think so much about, well, you should advertise more. No, you should read the book more. I would love for people to read the book and judge me from the book. I've had many people were surprised about how my books are not getting enough notice. I said because I'm a small-time self-publisher, but they said these books should be doing much more than they should, and I said, well, that's probably on my part because I'm not an analytic person that knows how to work these algorithms. I try my best to understand. I try my best to put ads where they say they should for free and stuff like that, but it's hard to keep up. So if you could spread the word, and if you're a reader of these books and you enjoy these books, please spread the word for me, or mention them to a reviewer and say, hey, there's a self-publisher here. Maybe you should give him a try. That's where I'm at right now. I'm in the mid part of doing this 4th series of Our Red, the 4th part. And I'm trying to ramp up a lot of the stuff. A lot of connections to what began at the beginning of the series. And it's been a long ride, and it really has. It's been, gosh, when did I launch that? Back in 2012, I guess. I think that was when I started it. And it's been a long journey. It surely has. Like I said, when I'm done this book, I'm going to take a break from it for a bit, unless I build them up more audience or people asking for me more. But if they're not, I'm not going to keep going on it unless there's a demand for it. I have too many titles in my head to push out focus on one specific title for too long. If it doesn't generate enough, if it doesn't get enough momentum, then I'm not going to focus on it. I mean, I like doing one-offs sometimes, but I like doing series. The one I'm really trying to get back onto is the Adventures of Deep Contact, because that book, The Massive Planet, is a good book, and I want to keep going on that series too. I do have many ideas for that one, and so I've got like tons of books to catch up on, finish up. I know people that like the Professor Dark and Miss Shadow are waiting for the first book to be brought out, and it's taking its time because that's a novel. It's easy to do little short stories here and there, but people wanted a full novel, and I'm trying to do a full novel, and it's much more difficult than you think. I don't mind doing short stories because they're quick and you can do them, and novellas, they're easy to do as well because they're quick little stories and you can shoot them out. But novels are totally different beasts. Your Service is Required was my first full novel I've ever written, and that took a long time to push out, but I enjoyed it. And it's a one-off book that I'm very proud of, actually. I am proud of my own work sometimes. There are some stories where I go, what was I thinking on that one? But I don't, a lot of them I'll just toss aside after I've worked it in my mind a few times and go, yeah, that's not going to work. But the ones I've pushed out, the ones that are mainly out there right now, I'm happy with. And as a writer, I am happy with it. I'd like to get them to be more noticed. That's the only problem. And it's a hard thing to do because there's far too many titles out there right now. So I'm trying my best to get this out, get this made aware of. I've put them in public giveaway book things, in the Goodreads, and what can I do? Either people love them or they hate them, and I'll take it any way I can. I just wish that people are honest and fair in their review, and that if they don't like it, that they give a proper explanation of why, and not just I hated it kind of like thing, because it just sounds stupid. Like maybe you didn't read it and you just thought you took 2 words and that was it. But in the meantime, Outer Red was a fun series. It makes it sound like I'm saying goodbye to the series after it's done, but I'm not. This is, like I said, I'm still in mid-writing of this book, and when it's done, I will launch it properly. But for the most part, this book has been a long time coming. So, yeah, and originally I had no plan to make it into many parts. It was just going to be the first book, or first short story, and that was it. And then I realized, I could expand it and give it a wonderful world. And it is. It's a wonderful world in the Galactic Kingdom. I've given them lots of ideas for future books. So it's hopefully it satisfies. So like I said, if you want to check them out, Outer Red Part 1, Off the Given Path, Outer Red Part 2, The Three Little Pegs, Outer Red Part 3, oh man, I don't even remember my own title. The red. Sorry about this. The Last of the Riding Hoods. That's what it was called. Sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm really tired. I don't sleep well some days, so you'll have to forgive me on that one. I should have edited it, but well. What are we gonna do? Yeah. So the third one is the Last of the Riding Hoods, and then Part 4, At the Well's End. I think I said that wrong too. Oh my gosh, I am so tired right now. Yeah, At the End of the Well. That's the title. I'm so sorry. Man, I should do this when I'm actually not half asleep. All right, so, and that was embarrassing. All right, so there we go. The characters have been fun. I love Red, Commander Red, and I love Grimm. Their banter between each other is how I imagined it. Grimm is the character, I just love writing Grimm half the time. And all the pegs, how they interact. Grandma is how I envisioned her, and the wolves are a deadly fun enemy to write about. But like I said, go out and read those books. Tell me what you think. 2 are on Audibles. Part 1 and Part 2 are on Audible. I haven't done Part 3 on Audible, and I may not. I'm in, I'm not sure about some of the books doing on Audible right now. I mean, they're so expensive to do sometimes. I wish I could read it myself, but I'm not very good at doing that. I do like character voices, but I can't. It's hard to do. Hard to explain. You can't do my own stuff for some reason. I don't know what it is. Why? Probably because I'm not a professional at reading the books in the way that they're supposed to be read. If I could, I would. But I'm really not set up for that sort of thing at all. And I really don't have the money to create a setup for this thing at all. I mean, I've barely had enough for doing this. I don't even have a proper studio for this either. But maybe you can let me know if I'm, just talking out of my rear end about it. So yeah, Outer Red. I hope you go and give it a read or a listen, and give me some feedback. Let me know how you by reviewing it on the pages or in Goodreads, or as a basic email back to me, or just general comments somewhere, and let me know what you thought of it. Writers need to know what people thought of their work in order for them to understand, learn, and grow. And writers don't mind that at all. I know some writers take offense to it. They get all bent out of shape about if somebody over-criticizes their work, and they shouldn't. And they shouldn't respond, but a lot of them do. And I really, I was like that once. I was very defensive, but then I realized, why am I getting all mad? This is actually helping in a way, because one guy that criticized me about the prologue part, made me really think about it afterwards. I was mad at first, but then I thought, maybe I should put that in, so kind of, if anybody does just pick up this book at willy-nilly, they know where we're going. But yeah, like I said, so you can find them on Amazon. You can find them, just look up the websites and have a look, and let me know what you think. So I'm going to get back to writing part 4 so I can get it done. And then the whole book series of book 1 of The Outer Red will be done. And then if anybody has any more interest in it, they can let me know. And I do have another book 2 idea, but it's in its infancy right now. But I need to get more feedback before I start anything like that, because if nobody's appreciative of that book, then I won't pursue it much. It is what it is, and then we'll just leave it at that. But for now, I gotta get back to writing, and I hope you get back to a nice day. Okay? Thank you so much for listening.